All right. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Okay, how are you? How's your week? Has it been
Good.
good? Good. All right. Doesn't sound too good.
It's too early.
I know. I wish they would push it to the afternoon too, but I guess we have to bear with it for the next, I think, 8 more weeks.
No, we just had a meeting with the head of the school. That's why.
Did they say something about changing the timetable or?
No, not really. It was just a casual chat.
Mhm. Just to hear your concerns and everything, correct?
Yeah,
Mhm.
feedback and stuff.
All right. Okay. Very good. Have all of you been vaccinated? Has APU contacted you to see if you are ready to come back or?
Oh yeah, they sent us a survey to
Mm-hmm.
fill out about
All
the status of our vaccination, but that's all.
okay. All right. So maybe they will let you guys come back. Maybe like in a month or two. I'm not sure, but maybe very
By
soon.
October, apparently.
By October. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it might change because in Malaysia it keeps on increasing. Yesterday was like 24,000. They might, I don't know, they might want to change that. Perhaps it keeps on increasing. It's not decreasing, even though people are I mean, not mostly, but a lot of people are getting vaccinated, but it's not going down.
I wonder
Okay.
why.
Uh, there are still a huge group of people who are not vaccinated, and the percentage usually comes from I'm not sure if this is political, but it comes from places that are not supposed to run, but they are running. Um, that's what I
Mm.
heard. But we'll see. Hopefully, everything goes well very soon.
Okay.
All right. Yes,
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good also.
All right. Okay. So if you're doing great, then it's fantastic. Obviously, we have to keep out on each other during the pandemic because I know it's been stressful for all of you. For your lectures as well, let me assure you. So hopefully, all of this will be going down very, very soon so that we can slowly return to our previous life again. Okay, so last week we did not manage to finish the presentation. So let's talk about what we're going to do this week. This week, we're going to go through the presentation first, probably for the first 30 minutes. And let's try to practice to provide constructive feedbacks to your friends' speeches as well. So we are going to do that in the first part. And after that, we are going to talk about capturing people's attention when it comes to uh, beginning your speech so that your speech is exciting from the first second that you open your mouth during your presentation. So that one we are going to discuss towards the end of the class, and I'm going to give you a simple activity on that. And that particular portion will allow you to be a bit more creative with the topic and with whatever you have on hand. So we'll discuss a little bit later on that. But first of all, let's go through the presentations first, and let's try to provide constructive discussions with the presentations that your friends are going to be delivering. Okay, let's begin. I think last week we only managed to finish Group A. So let's proceed to Group B. All right, who's going to represent Group
Um,
B?
okay, we have a little bit of a situation on our
Okay.
hands.
All right. What kind of situation?
The person that was meant to do the presentation is not doing well at the
Okay.
moment. So we're looking for alternatives. If none, then I will. But also, I'm kind of not prepared for it.
Okay. Do you want me to go to Group C first, and then you can sort it out first?
Yes, no, that would be so fantastic. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So we'll move on to Group C first, and then we'll return to your group. Okay. All All right. So let's move on to group C first, and let's listen your speech on following your dreams. And you're supposed to prepare the speech that contains the elements of pathos or emotions. Can we start with group C first today?
Excuse me, sir.
Hi.
Can you just give me 3 minutes? Just give me 3 minutes.
You also need 3 minutes. Okay.
No. As I was saying, I'm kind of bringing up the points, but the thing is that my laptop is kind of slow, so.
Okay, I understand. No, it's all right. I know it's very early in the morning. Some of you might not be as prepared, so I understand. Okay, it's all right. Siley, I will come back to you. Let's open this then. Anyone from group D, E, F? Anyone wants to go first? Anyone is ready? Group D, are you ready with your speech?
Hi, sir.
Hi.
I'm from Group D. I think I'm ready.
Okay, let's begin with your speech first then.
Okay, wait. Give me a second.
Okay, sure. Okay, so we'll go with group D first, and we'll return back to group D, B and C later.
Hi, sir. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ching Hao. Today I'm going to give a speech about why men gossip more than women. Whenever we talk about gossip, we immediately think that women are like sort of the kind of the best of it. But we often think that whenever they meet up with their friends, or it's mostly to gossip about someone they hate or they are jealous about. Now, this is just an assumption by us guys. Don't feel offended by it, okay? This is often portrayed in films and stories, but little did we know that the research shows otherwise. You may be surprised to find out that, contrary to popular belief, men gossip just as much as women do. That's very surprising to me at first, but like when it comes to the research, for example, a study conducted by the Social Issue Research Centre, SIRC, a UK-based non-profit organization that conducts research on a variety of social topics, that found out that men gossip as much as women do, particularly on their cell phones. So do not assume that when you see a man walking around with a cell phone attached to his ears, he is conducted business. Maybe he will be gossiping too. And another study conducted, 33% of men gossip on their cell phones daily or on most days, compared to 26% of women. And that's very surprising. Also, in addition, a recent survey conducted just this 2014, it was also proven that men cannot keep a secret more than 3 hours, where a woman can keep a secret for 3 hours and 40 minutes, 40 minutes extra than men. And men spend 30% more time gossiping than women. Moreover, according to a survey conducted in the United Kingdom by BMRB, a research on behalf of BT's burst in faculty, 20% of men spend up to 3 hours every day to gossip, and men spread rumors more than women. And also 55% of men gossip at work, where 46% of women do. The research speaks for itself, and it's very clear that men gossip more than women. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Cheng Hao. All right. Okay, I think it was good. But before we listen to what I have to say, I have a couple of things that I feel would improve the speech a little bit better. But let's hear from your friends very quickly. Let's hear from let's hear from Zanho. What do you think of the speech given by your friend? Aqua Zanho? Aqua Zanho, are you there? Okay, so we've captured the first victim today. I was probably not in front of the laptop. I'm probably going to make you turn on the camera throughout the class next week then to decrease this. All right, never mind. Let's dive right into the feedback, Cheng Hao. Okay, let's talk about the good things first. I feel because you're given a topic that is a little bit odd in a sense that most of the time, like you said, people would assume that women gossip more than men, and that's the stereotype. And I like that you destroy that stereotype right from the beginning. You mentioned this is what men assume, but it's not the case, and you do it, in my opinion. Obviously, I cannot speak for the ladies, but in my opinion, it's quite respectful. At first, it did start sounding a little bit stereotypical, but then you mentioned this is only the man's assumption. In my opinion, that makes it okay and respectful in terms of your discussion, because you're saying this is only our close-minded opinion on how women interact, and that's okay because you're not trying to portray them in a negative light. So that's one good thing that I feel about your speech. And number two, there's a lot of factual information that you provided. And all of those factual information that you found and delivered earlier, they were able to kind of convince that men actually gossip more than women, which is something that's difficult to do when it comes to topics like this, because it's a stereotypical topic where women are most of the time associated with. But I feel you did a very good job, and your discussion is very factual and, in my opinion, credible as well. Not just logos, you also have elements of ethos earlier. Okay, one thing that I feel could make it better was the beginning, because you right away tell the audience, when it comes to gossip, all of you must think that women gossip more, correct? Something like that. So when you give the answer, it's not as effective compared to asking them a question. So in a topic like this, I would probably suggest asking them, wouldn't you agree that women gossip more than men, so that they can form their own answer? That way, you can destroy their stereotype even more effectively, in my opinion. So you lead them on thinking, oh, yeah, women do gossip more than men. Once they have that perception in your mind, tell them, okay, let me prove you otherwise. So I think if you were to do it like that, it would be a bit more effective. So in the future, when you are comparing something, okay, let's try to do this method because I feel it's a very good method, leading them on thinking that, oh, women gossip more than men. They will have this perception. But right after they form that answer, you destroy their answer and thinking, saying, okay, that's a stereotype, that's an assumption. Actually, men gossip more than women, and here's the reason why. So I feel if you were to do it like that, it would be a bit more effective, especially when we are comparing something, not just this topic, any topic where we are comparing things, genders or animals, anything. You can make it effective in that sense. So that's my only feedback. But overall, I feel your speech, your content is quite good. Delivery, we can improve a bit more on the tone, perhaps, but still it has a lot of credible elements and it has a lot of logos elements. So very good. We just have to focus on pathos, but that's fine because that's not the assignment that I gave to you last week. So overall, I think it was a good speech and you did achieve the objective, in my opinion, very, very well. Okay, great job, Cheng Hao and also Group D.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Okay, let's see. Group B, are you ready or should we?
Sir, Group C. I think Group C should go first.
Okay, all right. Wait, are you from Group C, Tina?
No, I'm from Group B.
Okay, so you're volunteering for them. All right. Okay, let's have Group C. I think Group C just need a couple of minutes earlier. Group C, can we have yours first? Then we'll go back to Group B.
No problem, no problem.
All right.
Should I just dive right in, or?
Okay, sure. Let's begin with your speech. Let's inspire your friends to follow their dreams, Siley. So let's begin with your speech.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I hope you are doing well. I'm Sally Manger, and I'm going to present a speech on following your dreams. So, before I begin my speech, I'd like to pose a question to y'all. Why isn't it important to follow your dreams? Anybody from the audience?
Okay, I texted something. I said so that we can be happy in our life, but I think it's a bit laggy. So that's why I think we probably should follow our dreams.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your opinion. Well, personally, I think that following your dreams is important because if you pursue your dreams, you have something to share with others, such as hope, inspiration, and a meaning to life. And that is an important contribution in my eyes. Okay? You see, pursuing your dreams will strengthen your courage, which is a fuel that will encourage you to come out of your comfort zone and lead you to incredible success in life. When you pursue your dreams courageously, actually, you will undoubtedly be unstoppable in due time. There is a reason why most of us love to dream as a child. You should ask yourself such a question. Why? Why would you have such a dream as a child? Because you see, we can imagine something that we love and had brought up when we were children, and that actually created some happiness into our lives. And when you stop chasing those same dreams, you will forget what it was like to be young and hopeful. So to make your dreams come true, you need to sacrifice time and hard work for it. You see, let's take for example, excuse me, let's take for example, great dreamers like Alexander Masurkin, who matured into an independent individual after realizing actually that he could make a difference on his own. You see, when he was 12 years old, if I'm not mistaken, according to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge, when he was 12 years old, he dreamed of becoming an aspiring astronaut after watching the movie Star Wars. So he created a plan for himself and he followed it. So to achieve his dream, he joined an aero club and then he became a pilot. And 7 years later, he achieved his dream and was selected as a potential candidate for a cosmonaut candidate. Sorry. So Alexander has already completed two missions, obviously totaling about 334 days, 11 hours, and 29 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So you should also ask yourself a question. Um, why is it that our parents our lecturers, despite them actually putting some form of pressure on our shoulders to actually pursue our dreams. There's a reason why they do not force you to chase something. So the reason is behind that is that they don't want you to live a life of regrets, and that is what actually is a major factor in this world. When you are looking at chasing your dreams, if you are forced to go into something, it doesn't add up to actually uh, credit yourself as having achieved something when you know you had bigger dreams to chase. Well, and personally, I speak for myself, or even on behalf of some of you, it doesn't actually, it does not actually take away, um, or it doesn't discourage you to actually speak up to your lecturers or to your teachers or to your actual parents to tell them that you want to pursue such and such a thing. Obviously, do not go and tell my folks that I told you this, but I'm just saying, um, you can actually speak up to those people so that you can let them know where your heart is or where your potential lies in, rather than you being forced to go into something which you know is not where your strength lies. So that'll be it from me. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Siley. Let's listen what your friend feels first. Then I'll talk a bit more on the feedbacks and a little bit improvement. Okay, let's hear from Millie. What do you think of Siley's speech earlier?
For me, I think it's really good.
Mhm,
Like the way he engaged with the audience, he asked about the audience. I like that part.
mhm. So
Yeah.
you basically like that he's trying to connect with the audience.
Yeah.
Anything else that you like about his speech earlier?
I think overall it's really good for in my opinion.
Mhm. All right,
Yeah,
any
that's all.
constructive feedbacks?
No.
Okay, all right, it's all right. Thank you, Millie. All right, okay, so Siley, first of all, I would like to congratulate you. I think it's a lot better than your first speech. It's a bit more organized this time around. But towards the end, I did seem you were rambling a little bit towards the end. But I would say 80% of your speech sounds organized. So that's a massive improvement. So let's try to keep on improving. So that's always a good thing. As long as we improve bit by bit, okay, I'm pretty sure you will be able to be more organized by the time we have to give the actual presentation. Okay, and I agree with what Millie mentioned. I feel you are actually conversing with us. So that's always a good thing when you're trying to inspire the audience. And there are some, in my opinion, strong moments, especially towards the end when you're trying to inspire them and when you're trying to motivate them as well. And the words that you use, I feel were very great. You chose carefully, and overall, I think the content was good. There were a couple of things that I feel could make it better. Okay, number one, okay, I feel there were a couple of parts where you were probably a bit informal. Okay, I get it. You're trying to connect with them. Like in the beginning, when you ask the question, can I ask all of y'all? So that's a little bit informal. And then towards the end, when you were cracking the joke, you said, do not come to your folks and say that. And then I'm just saying things like that sounds a little bit informal. If it's too much, it can make the whole speech sound a bit more informal. Once or twice, it's okay. So let's decrease a little bit of that so that we can increase the formality of the speech. And then number two, I feel if you have like one phrase that is catchy and motivational that you keep on repeating, and then at the end, you mention that again, that would be very effective. It can be as simple as follow your dreams. Repeat that multiple times and finish with that particular part in your speech. Then that way, your audience will remember that your last words were follow your dreams. So they will remember this message for the next few hours, then it will be a bit more effective, because the reason here is we're trying to kind of inspire them. So when you're trying to inspire people, have repetitive sentence that you repeat multiple times, and make sure to end with that inspiring quote or sentence, so that that will be the last word that you say. And also for the audience, they will remember that for the next few hours. So I think if you were to do that, it would be even more effective. But overall, I like that you were trying to converse with them. There's engagement with the audience. And oh, and one more thing, during the question part, I'm not sure if your friends were not responding or if it's the lag. But in the future, I would suggest, if you want to ask a question, probably pose a question to specific person, or you can ask simple questions where they can probably raise their hand. That way, you will also not feel to panic if, let's say, they are not responding, because sometimes, I mean, you know your friends more than I do. Sometimes they might not respond. So maybe you can simplify the question a little bit so that they can just only respond like, do you have a dream? Maybe ask them to raise their hand. Or if you want to have like open-ended question, choose a specific person so that they can actually speak. That way it will be a bit more effective. And then you yourself also, you will not be left waiting for a long time, because for your actual speech, we have like 5 to 7 minutes, and we don't want to waste like a minute or two just waiting. That's not a good use of time when you're presenting. So in the future, open-ended questions, maybe identify a specific person that you want to answer, and then can give the responses quickly as well. Okay, but overall, I think it's a good speech, and it's a massive improvement compared to your first speech that we had weeks ago. Very good, Siley and also Group C.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
All right, okay, let's move on back to Group D. B, sorry, Group B.
Yes, sir.
Okay, have you been chosen as the victim?
No, I was the original person.
Okay.
Fixed it already.
Okay.
So yeah, good morning, everyone. Today's topic is fast food's popularity relies on marketing. Um, I'm going to start by saying fast food, or let me correct it, humans' fastest way to satisfaction without any efforts. The way is paved even easily through marketing, whereby the captivative customers by displaying the best, most delicious and scrumptious images of junk food, evocating curiosity in the customers and tempting them to try it out. However, according to the Prevention Institute, in the United States, food and beverage industry spends approximately $2 billion per year on marketing their goods to children and teenagers, because they are the highest number of customers they get. Meaning, they spend more than 5 million every day on marketing. Nevertheless, fast food were able to cause more diseases such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart diseases. The Interagency Working Group on Foods Marketed to Children has proposed reasonable nutrition guidelines to help provide a model for companies that market to kids. Unfortunately, the food industry and media companies are working to get Congress to stop the interagency working group from finalizing the sensible recommendations, proving it is further that marketing is indeed the greatest reason for why junk food keeps destroying people's health. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Before I give my own feedback, let's hear what your friend has to say first. Can we hear from Long Mang Hang? Man Hang, what do you think about your friend's speech earlier?
I think that's good.
Okay, what's good about it?
It tells us about what she want to say and the opinion about it.
Okay, would you say it's persuasive in your opinion?
Yes.
Which point would you say is convincing for you to believe that fast food relies on marketing?
Most of the part.
Most of the part. Can you recall one? Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay. All right. Anything any constructive feedbacks that you want to give to your friend?
I think the speech can be longer a bit.
Okay, can be longer and maybe elaborated a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Manhang.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about your feedback, Tina. Let's talk about the positive. Okay, the content, I feel it's good because you provided a lot of different sources, and overall, you achieved the objective of trying to say that fast food really does rely on marketing. And I like that you ended your speech with that statement saying that, yes, fast food relies on marketing. I feel that's great and effective. In terms of delivery, I feel it's a little bit fast. We could have slowed down a little bit, and I feel this might relate to what Manhang mentioned as well, because I feel the content is good, but it goes on too fast. I'm not sure if it's anxiety or if it's your time zone or if it's
No,
mm.
no, I'm just like, I just do talk fast.
Okay, so we have to slow down a little bit on that as well, because one thing that is causing with your speech also is your pronunciation. Like earlier, you were saying diabetes, and the pronunciation is not correct. So I assume you probably know how to pronounce it, but it might be affected by the pace of your speech, making the pronunciation not as perfect. And when we have like all of these scientific technical terms, we have to be very careful and slow down with that, because pronunciation is a very important thing when it comes to credibility. So the moment we don't have perfect pronunciation, the credibility might decrease a little bit. So the pronunciation, be a little bit careful. And I do agree with Manhang as well. I was hoping for maybe a bit more data. I feel you could probably explain a little bit more and provide a bit more on viral or current things. I feel if you were to provide like more current things, it would be a bit more effective. Like for example, in the recent months, McDonald's, for example, McDonald's have had a lot of collaboration with celebrities, and people are going crazy over McDonald's. Like for example, in Asia, we had that BTS meal. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but Malaysian went crazy over it. And I think a lot of people in other places who were not able to get it, they were crazy over it as well. And this basically proves that fast food's popularity really does rely on marketing, because they were clever. They choose popular celebrities to collaborate with. So I feel if you were to provide data that's a bit more viral, things that when you tell your friends, they were able to remember, oh, I remember this. This happened like a couple months back in America or in here or there, then it would be a bit more credible. But overall, I feel the content was good. We just have to slow down a little bit on the delivery and elaborate a little bit more. But overall, I feel you did manage to convince that fast food relies on marketing and it is credible. I was maybe hoping for a bit more. Okay, but overall, it's still a good speech nonetheless, Tina and Group B. Okay, very good.
Thank you. My apologies. It's just that we were not really sure about the length of the speech, so we tried to be as short as possible. That's why. But we would like next time we would like add more data to our speech or something like that.
Okay, so, sure. Okay, sure, Tina. Yeah, we have a few more activities in the coming weeks, so we can focus there as well. Okay, thank you, Tina, and also Group B. Not sure about you guys. All right, Samuel. I'm just updating. I texted something earlier. It has not come up in the meeting chat, and I heard from other lecturers this is happening in their classes as well. So I think there are something wrong with Teams at the moment. For the past few weeks, it's been extremely laggy. Most messages that I text are not coming up in the chat. So it's not just you, Samuel. I think most people are experiencing this issue. And my friends who are not at APU, they use Teams. They also have this issue elsewhere. So I feel this is probably like an internal thing. Um, I think it is the actual meeting chat. I'm not sure what it is, but a lot of people are experiencing this issue at the moment. And I'm pretty sure it's not internet because my internet is fast. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Teams. But if using the chat from the channel, it works. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll try and have a look into it. Maybe the setting is off, or maybe there's something that we can do to improve this. Okay, let's move on to Group E. Can we have representative from Group E?
Hi, sir. Can you see
Okay,
me?
hi. Yes. Okay, you're going to represent your group.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about adopting pets instead of buying pets, and let's rely on credibility. Okay, let's begin with your speech, Manhang.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to present about let's adopt pets and not shop. Nowadays, pets are now consisting a serious problem. There are approximately 8 million animals enter shelters every year, but there are 2.6 million of dogs and cats are killed in US shelter. Because those shelters get overcrowded and people refuse to adopt when they have the opportunity to adopt it. It is more cost effective for the individual purchasing the animal because most shelters will have the cats vaccinated and some microchip. Adopting animals will make us feel better than you give an animal a home. Help other animals and save your money. Now, I have given you all the benefits. While the pets we adopt are more likely to be trained, less likely to have health issues, and they are all up to date on their vaccination. In other way, pets sold in pet stores are consist of health problem and physical problem. They are having illness and zoonotic disease. They may spread this to other pets or even humans. We buyers need to pay numerous amount of enormous vet bills and face the death of those puppies within days or weeks of purchase. Due to a shortage of space, some shelters are result forced to result the death of many healthy animals. And by rehoming a pet, you may provide a loving, stable home for them and who have been abandoned through no fault of their own and contribute to the reduction of overpopulation. Therefore, adopt pets and not shop it to provide a home or shelter for the animals. In conclusion, adopting animals has more benefits compared to shopping for pets. Let us practice to adopt the animal instead of buying them from pet shops. And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Manhang. Let's listen what your friends feel about your speech first, then we'll move on to my feedback.
Okay.
Can we hear from Aaron? What do you think about your friend's speech?
Hello, sir.
Hi. What do you think about Manhang and also Group E's speech?
Great delivery and a lot of facts.
And the what?
A lot of facts, like the facts he was mentioning.
Okay, which part is the strongest in your opinion?
The strongest was when he was starting, not really the end, because the end was like he was just concluding, and I don't know, I just didn't.
What do you like about the start? Is that something that convinces you or makes you pay attention to in the beginning?
Not necessarily.
But you feel.
Yeah, but I feel like the ending was just like concluding. Like I don't know, I don't like the way it was left off. But then yeah.
So the ending is a little bit anticlimactic. Like it's just like a normal conclusion.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, it was like to conclude. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Anything else before I give my own feedback, Aaron? Any constructive ones? So the constructive one is the conclusion. Probably we can be a bit creative there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Let's go back to your speech. All right, nice mustache. All right, Manahang, first of all, I do agree with Aaron. The first few lines I thought was very good because you begin by saying these are the number of people, these are the number of animals that are killed every year. I thought that was very effective because as an animal person, you got my attention right from the first sentence. So that's great because as a listener, I want to empathize with the problem that's going on. So that's effective. But the more that we go on, the less strong or the less convincing it is because of your organization, Manhang. Because like in the beginning, you mentioned a couple of things that's good about adopting. Okay, and then you kind of concluded in the middle, and then you proceeded to talking more about the other benefits. And then I do agree with Aaron, the conclusion could be a bit more interesting, perhaps. Like, for example, you could encourage them to adopt a bit more, maybe aggressively, perhaps, or maybe you can try to conclude it in a more effective way. And I feel to make it more effective, go back to the part where you mentioned, you know, these are the number of animals that are killed every year. I feel if you were to visit that again, make them think, okay, so would you want this number of animals to be killed every year? Wouldn't you feel like you do something great if we actually save this animal and give them a home? So let's adopt and not shop. If you were to go back to your first point, I think it would be very effective because you begin strong. The middle, I feel organization is a little bit wonky. In the last part, the conclusion, it's all right, but it's not exciting. So I feel your strongest point was the beginning because you got my attention, but middle and conclusion, not as exciting and not as, in my opinion, engaging as the first point that you mentioned. Overall, I feel it's credible because you have a lot of sources, so that's great. And the things that you mentioned as an animal person, someone who really cares about animals, I can verify what you mentioned. They were through, so the information, they were correct, but the delivery could be a bit more convincing. So overall, I feel it's a good speech, great content, but we can be a bit more creative with the delivery and we can be a bit more organized with the flow of the speech as well. But overall, good speech, Manhang.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's have the last speech for today from Group F. Okay, Group F, can we have your representative to talk about the dangers of drug abuse, but we are going to only use the elements of pathos.
So our group representative had a vaccine like 2 days ago and now he's sick.
Do you have a replacement for that?
I think even Nihad is absent.
Sorry?
I think even Nihad is absent.
Are you the only person that's present?
I think it's only me and Ishwardip.
Can either one of you go, or do you need time, or should we have this next week?
Yes.
Wait, which one? Do you want to go next week, or do you want to go today? Choose.
So if you can give us time till next week.
10 minutes break.
No, I'm saying if you can give us time till next week.
Time till next week. All right. So I will have yours next week then. All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay. All right. So that's all of the speech for now. Okay. So we'll have Group F to give their speech next week. So for today, we are going to go into the second or the discussion on engaging the audience in the beginning. But before we do that, perhaps we can take a 5-minute break. And after our 5-minute breaks, we are going to talk about how to engage the audience in the beginning of your speech. So before we go into that, let's have a 5-minute break, and we will continue again at 10:50. So let's have 5, and we'll resume in 5 minutes. Okay, let's resume. Your mathematics result is out. How did you do? Great.
Yes.
What do you get? A.
We're going to keep it
Okay.
undisclosed.
No problem.
But
I
not
think
bad, not bad.
I think you've just answered the question.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just start. I got a B.
Okay. It's okay. I'm not forcing you to answer. I'm just kidding.
No, it's just that
Yeah.
if I didn't miss the first quiz, then I think I would have scored a little
Oh,
higher.
okay. Was it difficult?
No, I just literally missed the first quiz because of confusion
Okay.
in time zone.
Every semester, students will always complain about the mathematics. They told me it's difficult, but yeah, yeah.
I know. I mean, no, it was kind of similar to high school mathematics actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the result is out, you can see it on your AP space, I assume. I think they
Yeah.
might have released the whole thing on AP space.
Not the
Uh,
whole thing actually, just the math part was out.
what about PDSM and the rest? Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, I'm not seeing anything, but you have to search on AP Space
Okay.
results and you can just click on it and it pops up for you.
Yeah, but for the result, I just want to remind all of you, check the AP space because sometimes the Moodle, the grade that they give you, it's inaccurate. Because most of the time, students contact me, they ask me why they fail, why they got B, why they got C, but actually they got an A. So whatever it is, check AP space. Sometimes Moodle, it's a bit inaccurate.
Not me disclosing my math grade.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to ask you to
But
disclose.
where on AP Space?
You search it, Tina. So like you on your phone or on your laptop, you just search on the search bar results and then they just show you the options. So you got the survey. Have you submitted the survey, by the way?
Oh no.
Yeah, you might
Then
want
you
to
might not
submit
get
that.
it. You
Mhm.
have to submit the survey first, and then they're going to show you the results.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Make sure to submit the survey as well because it makes your lecturer's job easier as well because we cannot go to the next stage without the survey as well.
Wait, but why does it break down like how do they call? It breaks down the subject, so I'm supposed to search one by one.
Yeah, but just search the subjects that we took in Sem 1, not Sem 2.
Okay, thank you.
Because they show the entire thing. So, yeah.
All right. So hopefully your math is fine. Sorry, Usma, for making you share your result.
It's all right. It's all right.
Okay. All
No
right.
worries.
All right. But at least it's a B. It's something to be
It's
proud of at
something
least.
to
Yeah.
work with.
Yeah. Okay. Do not be too sad if you got a B or C. You can always improve your grade. Don't worry too much about that. Okay, so hopefully all of you are fine with your mathematics, but let's come back here. We are just going to discuss how to capture your audience's attention when you're giving a speech. So every single time that we're preparing a speech, we have to come up with some kind of introduction. So your introduction, you can be creative. So this is something that we call as attention getter or attention getting device. So this is basically what we include in the beginning of the speech to capture an audience's interest. And if you remember, I think I played the speech maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago by Darren Tay, where he put on his underwear outside of his pants. So that's basically the use of props when you are giving a speech. So you can use props, you can use images, videos, or if you don't want to use all of those audio visual methods, or if you don't want to use props or don't have props, there are also a couple of other things that we can rely on. So that's what we are going to discuss today. Okay, but before all of you decide, what can I include as my attention getter, or how can I begin my speech? There are 4 things we have to consider first. Okay, the 4 things that you have to decide before we come up with the device is, number 1, whether or not this technique or tool or props, is it appropriate to our audience? If you feel it's not appropriate, if you feel some of your friends might be offended by it, do not choose that technique, because the objective here is to draw their attention. If they are not interested in it, or if it has like the opposite effect, it's offensive perhaps, they might be turned off by your introduction. So you have to be a little bit careful with choosing the right technique to open your speech with. So it has to be appropriate with the audience, and at the same time, it also has to be appropriate to the occasion. Because we are doing this in class, obviously there's a limit of things that we can do, because everything is recorded, and eventually other people are going to view your recording. For me personally, I'm one of those people that do not like limiting your creativity, because I feel whatever that you feel works, I will allow you to do it, and I will allow you to challenge yourself to do it as well. But obviously, there are a couple of things that might not be appropriate now, because some people might be viewing this recording later. Like, for example, I'm not sure if this is appropriate to share, but many years ago, even before all of this pandemic and recording, I had a student. His introduction was very controversial, but I feel it works. He was talking about sex education. So what he did was, he actually bought a pack of rubber or protection, or I'm pretty sure you know it by the C word. He brought it to class, and then he was using that as prop. That was a little bit controversial in a sense that it gets people's attention, but at the same time might be a little bit inappropriate, because some people might feel uncomfortable when you bring props like that to class, because we don't know your friends in terms of what they're comfortable with. So you have to think of the occasion as well when you are beginning your speech, because the objective here is to interest the audience, not to turn them away when you are beginning your speech. And after that, you also have to think the purpose of your speech and your topic. If it makes sense with the purpose of your speech and your topic, I would say go ahead and do it. But again, try to think. People are eventually going to watch it. Let's try to limit a little bit on certain things that we can probably do and cannot do. As long as it's related to the topic, I see it as a way to connect to the message. So going back to the speech that that student provided in class. So the students in the class enjoyed it, because everyone in the class was a little bit open about that topic, and I thought it was good, because he was educating people on protecting ourselves if we are going to be engaged in sexual relationships. And I feel it's effective as well. But obviously now it's recorded. We have to pick and choose a little bit on our methods, because some people might feel it being inappropriate, because it's not just your friends and me that will be watching it. Some people will eventually watch your speech as well. So all of these are going to be the 4 things that you have to consider when you are engaging your friends in the introduction. So that's why on Tuesday, I asked you to kind of decide what are the purpose and what do you want to write for your speech basically. So later, if you have not started with the work, you can go to this link. Again, the text is there. You can go to this link and you will see the outline. I want you to fill out the outline first before beginning your speech. Obviously, there's a cover page, and I want you to think about your topic, your justification. I just want you to ask yourself, why is this topic important for you? If you want to talk about addiction, why is this important for you? Or if you want to talk about addiction, why is it important for your audience? Like, for example, if you want to educate them on the dangers of alcohol addiction because you know that your friends are experimenting with it. Okay, obviously we don't want to call them out because that will be a little bit inappropriate, but you feel, okay, let's talk about alcohol addiction because my friends are all young adults. They are 18, 19, 20. This is the time that you want to experiment with things. So let's educate them on the dangers or to be careful about alcohol addiction. So you have to identify why do you want to choose this topic. Eventually, this can be your message towards the end. And just like what we discussed on Tuesday, do you want to persuade or do you want to inform? And come up with a specific purpose. Okay, to persuade the audience to realize on the dangers of alcohol addiction, or to persuade the audience to be careful when drinking alcohol. So try to make your general and specific purpose clear so that you yourself know what you are going to write in the speech. So this outline is important because it will allow you to be a bit more organized in the content and also in the message and choice of words and delivery as well. So by doing this, you should be able to identify what's the tone of my speech, what's the kind of emotions that I want to integrate, which one is going to be important, ethos, pathos, and logos. Obviously, you have to integrate all three, but which one do you want to focus the most on? So by doing the outline, it should provide you some kind of plan for your full speech. And once you are done with that, then only you're going to work on your introduction, which is the intention getter. We're going to talk about that very soon. And your body and also your conclusion. Once you are done with that, include your full speech here as well. And make sure to upload on Moodle during this deadline so that you are able to upload every single thing. When we have to submit this? Okay, so you have around, I think, 3 weeks to work and finish on the speech. We are going to start the presentation this week, 13th. So yours will be 17th. I usually will open this probably for about the whole week. I have not set up the assignments yet, but for now I'm thinking of opening on 10th so that you can start uploading on 10th, and then the deadline will be 17th. So you have like 1 full week to upload and check your plagiarism as well. So I have not set it up yet. I'll set it up by next week. But the plan now is I'm gonna put start date 10 September. Deadline 17 September. So once I've done that, I'll create a link and everything, and I'll share with you on Teams.
Hello, sir.
Mm.
I just want to ask, when are you going to give us the example for the script?
The sample for the script. All right. So the sample for the actual speech from your the speech that you're supposed to write, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so go to the link, and I've uploaded one sample that your, I'm not sure if you know this person, but this is an actual speech that was done by your friend from a different intake. So you can go through this as a sample. I chose this because number one, it's formal. And if I'm not mistaken, this person also got the highest mark at the end of the semester for public speaking. So that's why I chose this speech in particular. So you can have a look here. It's formal, it's engaging, it's also interesting. So you can have a look here. It's in the link So the sample is going to be on a PDF file. Okay, is that what you asked, Alam?
Yes, okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. Okay, so you can refer to the link here and to get this to later.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, Saad?
Sir, we have to submit it on Moodle also, and we have to give speech also. First, we are done with the writing part.
Okay, once you are done with the speech, you are going to upload on Moodle. So you can upload starting at 10 and deadline is going to be 17. But our presentation is going to go on more than that. But I will give you around 1 week to upload on Moodle, the actual speech.
Then we have to give speech by reading our script or what? So.
Okay, good question. So let's assume this is your speech, all right? So during the presentation, you can refer to your actual speech, but I don't want you to read. You can refer to it. You can open it on your laptop. You have to follow it closely so that it will be easier for you to deliver as well. You can add a couple of words here and there on the spot if you want to, or if you want to follow 100% of whatever speech you provided, you can do that. But I don't want you to read. Like, for example, if you're reading, I can tell. So I want you to refer, make eye contact, and engage with the audience. But you can open your script and you can have a look, make eye contact, have a look, make eye contact. Make sense, Saad?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So you don't have to memorize, but make sure you are prepared and know what the whole speech is going to be about, because you can refer, but I don't want you to read the whole thing. And if you think I will not be able to tell your reading, I'm pretty sure I will be able to tell if you're reading or if you're presenting. So please make eye contact still during the presentation.
Sir, I have another question.
Mm.
What's the word limit for this speech?
Okay, no word limit. The only thing that you have to pay attention to is the time. So it should be around 5 minutes to 7 minutes. So for this speech, it's a little bit different with your other assignments. I will not give word limit, but what you have to do is prepare a speech. I want you to rehearse. Is it within 5 to 7 minutes? And that's including of anything else that you want to include, like maybe props, maybe if you want to include videos, everything should be inclusive in this 5 to 7 minutes. So I will not give you a word limit, but you have to follow this timing strictly, 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, make sense, Saad?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome. All right, so this is on your submission. Okay, but for today, let's talk about engaging your audience in the beginning of the speech. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, okay, we are going to watch a short speech, again, taken from the Toastmasters, because that's the easiest place that we can get a lot of different ideas when it comes to speeches. So for today, we are going to watch this speech. The full speech is around 9 minutes, but we are not going to watch the whole thing. So for today, we are just going to watch the first 4 minutes of the speech, because that's where this video discuss on the introduction of the speech. So for now, let's watch a little bit of discussion and a little bit of idea on how to engage our audience in the beginning of the speech. So let's proceed to this video.
You some presentation tips and tricks. Now, the guy that we are working off of today is actually the Toastmasters 2015 World Champion of Public Speaking. This does, though, apply to a presentation that you would give in any setting, whether it's in work or elsewhere. Because when you stand in front of a group of people, whether you're talking about macroeconomics or the forecasted revenue, or you're telling a story like this guy, you must captivate their attention first. And that's one of the things that we're going to focus on today. So let's get started. What? So this is so huge. How does he start off a speech? There are two big things going on here. One, he starts with a prop, and sometimes that can feel hokey, and you're like, well, how do I do that in a business setting? The truth is, anything that is a physical object that people do not understand why you're doing it, whether you're holding some sort of piece of fruit as a metaphor, I've seen people do that, whatever it is, if you have a physical object, that helps to capture people's attention. And you're going to see that this is the most critical thing at the start of a speech. He does it in multiple ways, because when you get up there and start to speak in front of people, you have about 10 seconds to capture their attention and captivate them before they tune out completely. So you must do something interesting. Secondly, impeccable timing. This guy is so deliberate, so slow. He commands the stage. So that's just something to look out for the rest of this video. Oh, you all think smoking kills? So another quick thing, and I'm going to play this back again just so you can see it all together. You need to get audience interaction absolutely within the first minute. You see a lot of speakers do this. It can feel hackneyed, but they ask people to, show of hands, who's seen this before? Show of hands, who's heard of something? You must get the audience moving and speaking and responding to you if you want them to listen and to engage with what you are saying. He does it very cleverly by asking a provocative question. So I'm just going to go back and play that all over again so you can see it together. What? Oh, you all think smoking kills? So now they are interested and hooked, and he can begin to get into it. Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Again, 2 more great examples. He's dedicating basically the first minute of his speech to engaging with the audience. And he does that a number of ways we've covered, but also humor. He makes sure that there are jokes in that first minute. So he's got another belly laugh here. And then that provocative question that he's asking you, you think this? Well, guess what? And now he's going to reveal something else. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? Prop again, captivates attention. It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Council Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up.
Okay, so we'll stop there because we're not going to watch the whole thing because we just want to look at the introduction. So this particular speech, what this person does was, the topic was going to be the power of words. So what he did was here, he posed a couple of questions that either controversial or statements that might allow people to think or might people to agree or disagree. Like for example, he mentioned cigarette is not necessarily the cause of cancer, it's our DNA. Okay, when it comes to this, there are research that says correct, there are research that says otherwise. So it's not actually 100% credible. But the reason why he says this is because he wants to convince the audience to think that our words, if we choose carefully, if we deliver in an engaging and confident way, we can persuade people to think even the most nonsense ideas. So that's basically the reason why he began his speech like this. So later you can watch the rest of the video if you want to. And I do recommend because I like the way that he actually commands the engagement with the audience. So you can watch the rest of the video later at your own free time. But basically, if you watch later, you can see that this introduction basically ties back to the message that he was trying to include in his topic. So the most important thing here is, can we do this? You can. As long as you don't start smoking you can definitely do it. Because if you start smoking, then it's gonna be controversial. If you have cigarettes on you, or if you have props that relate with your topic, go ahead, do it. You can be creative. But next week we are going to do a simple activity to see how certain things that we do or say might be sensitive to the audience. So you can try to be creative with the props that you use. If you plan to use like cigarettes, if it makes sense with the topic, do it. But I don't want you to start smoking in the middle of your presentation. Then it will not have the same effect as what the speech is supposed to be. Okay, so this is basically what we mean by attention getter. We want to capture the audience's attention. So you can be creative, use props, or if you don't want or don't have any props, which I understand, you can also use music, videos, you can use images. A couple of your friends from a different class, they said they want to use slides. You can use slides, but I don't want it to have like a lot of words like this, because it's not supposed to be a presentation. So if you want to use slides, make sure it's simple. Make sure it contains like very little information, because again, we have to differentiate your delivery from a presentation to a speech. So if you want to use a slide, go ahead. Images, go ahead and do it. Like for example, I think it was maybe last year, one of my students, she was an ice skater. So what she did was she lined the rack of her ice skating clothing, and then she actually brought her equipment and tools to begin the speech. And that was interesting because number one, it makes sense. It's not controversial. It relates with the topic. And then eventually towards the end, she relate back to why she loves ice skating so much. And I think the message there was, if I recall correctly, expressing ourselves in a creative way. And then she relate again to her outfits, because her outfits was, in my opinion, very beautiful, but very creative and not expensive. So that's the message that she was trying to say. We can be creative, and we can't allow our minds to be very creative, basically. If I recall correctly, that's the message. So you can be creative again with what introduction that you want to produce, as long as it relates with the message. So this is the main important thing if you are using props, pictures, or images or videos. Okay, but if you don't want to use all of these things, it's fine. I understand some of you might not be in at your home. Perhaps you might not have all of these items lying around, or you might not have the best of internet to download a video or whatever. And that's understandable. Okay, if you don't want to use props, images, videos, here are some couple of things that you can use. Okay, so these are just suggestions. There are more on the internet that you can find later. And for this, I'm going to go a little bit fast. We are just going to discuss a little bit on a couple of things so that we are able to catch up with our content by next week. Okay, the first thing is something that I don't want you to do. So I mention it here because I don't want you to include it in your speech. So the first method is you just introduce. Okay, today I'm going to talk about drug addiction. Okay, it's not as exciting. When you are presenting, it's fine. When you are communicating or talking, it's fine. But when it's a speech, it's not very exciting, because a speech usually will encourage you to be a bit more engaging with getting the people's attention. So this is something that I don't want you to rely on in your speech. Okay, you can introduce normally, but I want you to think of other creative elements that you can begin your speech as well. So in your actual presentation, if the only way you introduce your speech is going to be, my topic is going to be blah, 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 then I'm going to be a little bit harsh with the introduction because I feel this is the weakest way to introduce any speeches in the world. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one starting from number 2 and 8, you can choose any that you love. Okay, number 2, you can try to relate your audience with your speech. Like, for example, if you're talking about depression, okay, try to relate how depression relates with university students. And I'm pretty sure some of your friends might relate to this topic because you have a lot of assignments, you have a lot of obligations, and you might feel frustrated, you might feel incredibly stressed with academic assignments. So relate the topic with the audience so that when you are beginning, they will see, oh, this is why I have to listen to this speech because it relates directly to me as an audience. Okay, after that, you can also include quotes. So this one I'm not gonna explain too in detail. I'm pretty sure you know what quotes mean. You did it for your PDSM assignment. So basically, you can choose any quotes as long as it relates with your actual topic, message, and speech. Okay, you can also include news or current events. So this one is very effective. If you don't want to use news, it's okay. Use viral things. Like, for example, if you use social media, is there anything that's going on social media that relates with your topic? Maybe there's a trend or a challenge that's happening on TikTok where it relates with your topic. Share that. Maybe show it. Explain to your audience how it relates with the topic. So this is a bit more exciting because you are providing news or viral data to your audience, and they will go, oh, I saw this on TikTok once. So they might be a bit more engaged when they listen to your speech. So the next one is anecdote. Again, this one I'm not going to go into detail because we've done this in the previous weeks. So you can provide a brief story. And a lot of emphasis is being put on the word brief is because attention getter should be around 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, we don't want your introduction or your attention getter to be too long because if it's too long, it defeats the purpose. Then it becomes an ordinary presentation. It's not exciting anymore. So if you want to include a story, make sure it's brief and make sure it's exciting to listen to as well. And the next one, you can also provide startling statement, any shocking percentages, any shocking sentences that might relate with the topic. Like, for example, if you want to talk about marriages, you can talk about how 46% of marriages end in divorce. And this is something shocking or something new to the audience, and they would like to listen more to it because now they are surprised, oh, there's this many people who are divorced after they got married. So let's listen to this speech and see more on the discussion. So try to find any statistics or any strange facts that you can provide or anything that gets your friends' attention right away. Like, for example, I think one of the group did this earlier with the, I think group E. You did this with adopting instead of shopping for pets. You begin by saying how many animals are killed due to their health and due to the lack of space at shelters. So this kind of shocking statement will allow the audience to pay attention when you are presenting. Okay, and the next thing, you can also ask questions. Okay, when it comes to a question, there are two types of questions. Okay, number one, response question. Okay, here you can ask simple things. Make use of all of the tools that we have. Like if you want them to participate, the easiest way that they can participate, in my opinion, is you just ask them to raise their hand. Like, for example, here, if you want to talk about traveling, you can ask them, have you ever been to Europe? If you have, raise your hand, and then they can easily respond to your question, for example, and then you can use whatever data that you have. Like, let's say 10 people raise their hand, and then you can just briefly mention, oh, 10 people have been to Europe. Okay, that's great. That's nice. And if you want to ask further questions, you can as well. From the data of the people that have responded to, you can ask them, what's your experience in Europe? That way, they will be a bit more excited and they know exactly what you're going to ask. So basically, when you're trying to ask a question, maybe direct to a specific person so that you will eventually get a response. Okay, but here's a problem. Let's say you ask a question, and let's say you have tried to call out a specific person, no response whatsoever. What should you do in that particular situation? Okay, let's hear from Harini. What would you do in your speech if you ask a question, but your audience is not responding?
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, so if the audience are not responding, I would probably change the question, or I would just continue with my opinion, like, well, blah 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 and all that. Yeah.
Okay, so you will treat it as like a rhetorical question, and then you will assume that it's been answered. Okay, so I think, yeah. Sorry, Harini?
Yeah, I just said yeah.
When you say change your question, what do you mean by that? Do you want to simplify it, or do you want to change to a new question?
Maybe simplify it.
Okay, I agree with that. Most of the time, people are not responding because maybe the question is difficult for them to understand. So simplify, use different words. Then if still there's no response, you can move on. You don't have to wait there for a couple of minutes for some kind of response because you don't have the luxury of time on your hand. So if they're not responding, move on. And you can make fun of the situation as well. Just provide a simple remark, or perhaps everyone is unable to answer this question because they're processing. Just provide a simple comment and then proceed to the rest of your speech, because that way you will also be able to compose yourself. You will not have some kind of demotivation going on throughout your speech. And if you want to have some kind of speech in your, some kind of question in your speech, you have to make sure to compose yourself as well. But what I usually recommend is choose a specific person. You know your friends more than I do. Choose reliable ones, because in this case, you want to make sure that you are going to remain calm throughout your speech. If you choose a person that's not going to respond, probably you're going to panic even more. So put yourself first in your speech, or you can cheat a little bit if you want to. Identify a specific person, give them the question before the speech itself to allow them to think the answer. Then when you ask, they are prepared for it. So if you want to cheat, go ahead. Just don't let me know that you are cheating. But you can do this if you want to, as long as you are able to remain calm in the actual presentation. But obviously, cheating will not work in the actual world when you are giving a speech in real life someday in the future. Okay, sometimes you also want to ask rhetorical questions. Okay, rhetorical questions is something that does not need any response. Like, for example, this question: if you prick ourselves, do we not bleed? So a question like this, the answer is going to be obvious. If we prick ourselves, obviously we're going to have blood. So we don't want any response. So when it comes to rhetorical question, you can also include it, because your audience will just think in their head, oh, yeah, we will bleed. So how does this relate with the topic? So they will have some kind of response in their brain going on. Or sometimes what I also encourage when it comes to rhetorical question, change it a little bit. Lead the audience to think about a specific answer. Like for example, earlier I mentioned to one of the group, if you want to talk about men gossip more than women, ask them, wouldn't you agree that women gossip more than men? So ask all of this simple question, they will probably answer yes, because you're trying to lead them to say yes. So in their mind, they're going to respond some kind of answer, or they will think, oh yes, women do gossip more than men. And from there, you try to provide a different point of view, saying that men actually gossip more or as much as women do. So you can do it that way as well. And the last one, you can also use humor. This one is the most effective ones, but also the most difficult ones to actually integrate in our speech, depending on your personality and also your skills. Like I said, I'm one of those people that will never make jokes in class because I don't think my jokes are funny in a sense that people will enjoy it, and it's usually controversial, so I usually will not make jokes at all in class. Okay, but if you feel like, you know, challenging yourself, go ahead. You can include with jokes, funny statements, allow them to be engaged, because humor is the most effective thing when it comes to a speech. Okay, but the problem with humor is, okay, when you make a joke, they might not laugh or respond. So what should we do in that particular situation? Let's hear from Wei Huan. If let's say you are giving a speech, there's a joke, all right, and your audience are not responding, they do not give any reaction like this, or they're not commenting, or if it's face to face, you can see that they're not laughing. What should you do, Wei Huan? Lim Wei Huan, are you here? Okay, I think we've captured one more potential student who is not paying attention. I think we'll really have to turn on our webcam next week throughout the whole class. I think we're going to do that next week. Otherwise, I'm not going to give attendance. All right, let's move on to a different student then. Jamil, what do you suggest? If you provide a joke, no one is reacting to it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say you just said something funny in your speech, but no one is reacting and they don't think it's funny, they're not laughing. What should you do in that situation?
I laugh by myself.
You laugh by yourself. All right, would you think this is effective? Would you laugh out loud, or what would you do?
I wouldn't laugh out loud. I would just smile it out.
Okay, you will just smile. All right. Okay. Thank you for the response, Jamil. Okay. In the future, if you provide a joke, I would just smile and move on to. Yeah, smiling is fine, but I don't want you to make it obvious that you are laughing at your own joke. You can smile, that's fine, because it's human nature. We just said something funny. Obviously, we cannot stop ourselves from smiling because to us, it's funny. So that's fine. Okay, but I don't want you to laugh out loud and say that how funny the joke is. Because I've seen people do it in their speeches. If you do it like that, it's going to be very awkward. And the audience might feel that it's more demotivating to listen because you are in your own world, and then you are not engaging to them. So when you provide a joke, if it's funny for you, it's fine. You can smile and move on, but never ever laugh, and do not ask your audience to laugh as well, because I've seen this before the pandemic. The presenter, they purposely ask their friends to laugh or, at their own jokes when they're giving a speech, and it sounded so rehearsed. it sounded so fake. So I don't want you to do that, because when we're giving a speech, we want genuine responses from the audience. If it's fake or rehearsed, then there's no point in practicing, because the reason why we have to do this is to equip ourselves. What should we do if things do not go our plan? That's also something that's important for us to learn and improve. So humor, the most effective. You can try to challenge yourself if you want to, but always remember, do not laugh on your own. Do not laugh out loud. You can smile, move on, and just make fun of the situation a little bit. Okay, just say tough crowd and then move on. It's all right, because things like that happen when it comes to trying to include humor in your speech. So these are a couple of suggestions of how you can open your speech if you don't want to use props, video, images, or songs or anything that might relate to audio visual aids. Okay, so for the next activity, okay, I think I just skip it. Okay, thank you, Wei Huan. Yeah, I think skipping it probably is the best response that you could do in that particular situation. All right, so basically when it comes to, yeah, no problem, Wei Huan. All right, so when it comes to this, I want you to later prepare a short introduction. So next week, I want you to choose one of the topic. And next week, I want you to present the introduction only. So I want you to discuss with your friends later, okay, how can we introduce one of these topics and make sure that it's exciting and it's creative and it's interesting. So you will have around 20 minutes later. You can do your discussion after this class. Choose one of these topics and prepare a 30 seconds to 1 minute introduction. And what I want you to do is next week, I want you to present only this part, the introduction only, and I will keep a time and I will cut you once it's 1 minute. So I want you to discuss with your group members later, okay, how can we introduce one of these topics in an engaging and in an interesting way. So this will be a little bit of your homework for this week. Choose one of this, prepare a 30 seconds to 1 minute introduction. You do not have to prepare the full speech. And for this activity, I will allow you to be creative. If you want to use props, use it. If you want to bring videos, music, songs, do it. Just make sure everything is under 30 seconds to 1 minute. So for this activity, I will allow you to discuss later, and we are going to have the very short presentations next week. Okay, so for today, I'm going to proceed to taking your attendance. Okay, but before we take your attendance, any questions regarding this activity or regarding your speech?
No.
Sir,
Yes.
for this group activity, we need to present in groups or just a representative?
Just a representative, preferably someone who has not presented yet, because some of you have presented this week. Let's switch around and let's have another representative from each group.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, welcome. So you can discuss this in the remaining time. You have around 20 more minutes. You can be creative. You can bring props. For this activity, I will allow you to do whatever you want. If it's inappropriate, I will let you know. If it needs improvement, I will let you know as well. For next week, I will allow your creative freedom so that you have an idea on how to introduce your speech in the actual presentation. Okay, so if there's no further question.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Sir, we have a right to agree or disagree with the topic, right?
It's up to you. You can disagree as well if you want to.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. You can change the topic a little bit. I don't want to see too much on the content. I just want to see how would you introduce it in an interesting way. So that one, I will leave up to you. You can eventually change the topic, but you don't have to prepare the full speech. Just 30 seconds to 1 minute of the introduction. Okay, so we are going to proceed to taking our attendance. Once we have taken our attendance, you can proceed to discuss with your friends. If you want to rest first, you can go ahead and rest. But remember the homework by next week. And also, please start working on your individual speech right now with the outline and also with the full speech. So for today, I will dismiss you here. Okay, I will see you all again next week on Friday, since Tuesday is a public holiday. Have a great weekend. Have a good rest. See you all again in exactly 1 week.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe.
Okay,
Thank
welcome,
you,
you
sir. Stay
too.
safe. Bye, sir.
Okay, goodbye. Take care. Stay safe, everyone.
Excuse me,
Thank you.
sir.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Yes.
Sir, for the word limit for the script, how much?
Which script are we talking about? The actual individual presentation?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I mentioned this in class earlier. No word limit. You just have to pay attention to the 5 to 7 minutes limit.
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So if you've taken your attendance, you may be dismissed first. I will see you all again
Sir?
next week. Yes, Aunt?
Sir, last week I was unable to attend the class due to power shutdown.
Okay.
So can you, sir, um, mark my attendance blue?
I'm not able to do that unless there's a document or there's proof to that. Otherwise, I cannot give that, Aunt.
Because there was shutdown, sir. Power shutdown.
Okay, I understand. But I usually will only amend attendance if there's some kind of document, Aunt.
Sir, I can't get the proof of the power shutdown.
Okay, I understand that, but again, I'm very strict with attendance. I usually will not amend unless there's a document. Okay, sorry, Aunt.
Sir, you can see I can't provide a proof because my students' power shutdown. So,
Okay, yes, I understand, Aunt, but here's the thing. I've received many comments saying it's power shutdown, there's no internet, but we cannot really prove this. It's very easy to take advantage of, and my rule is very simple. I'm not gonna entertain all of this.
sir, I'm not taking advantage.
I understand, but I'm being fair. Because there are some who might be taking advantage, so I'm just making sure it's fair for everyone. All right, Saad? Okay, welcome.
Sir, I
Mm.
have forgotten the